Joe Rogan is tearing apart Charlie Kirk's chief of security, Brian Harpole, for betraying Charlie. Brian's story is falling apart, and all of his lies are being exposed. New details about Charlie Kirk's assassination and the people responsible for it are now coming out. Turning Point USA, Erica Kirk, and some of Charlie's closest allies are all allegedly involved.
You want people to lose all faith that anyone is going to solve anything.
Yeah.
You had a bunch of, if you're going to guy, you had a bunch of other wacky shit that doesn't make any sense, and you spam it out there at the same time. You leave a gun that didn't do it out in the woods. You do a bunch of like that.
Let's start from the beginning. On September 10th, 2025, during a debating event as part of his American Comeback Tour, Charlie Kirk was shot to death at Utah Valley University in Orem. Seconds after Charlie was shot, a middle-aged man standing in the crowd confessed to the murder and was arrested by the FBI. He was later discovered to be lying, as the actual shooter, or well-alleged shooter, was found on one of the rooftops in front of Charlie. 2 days after the shooting, this shooter, Tyler Robinson, was arrested after he allegedly walked into a police station and confessed. His gun was also discovered near the crime scene with an allegedly no serial number. Now, this is where things get interesting. After the arrest of Tyler Robinson, Charlie Kirk's chief of security gave an interview, and none of the things he said made any sense.
On Monday before, this correspondence went to Chief Long. Hello, Chief Long. We received this message today from the student group. There is a student roof access pretty close to where CK will be set up at the Utah Valley. The Sorensen Center has a couple of staircases that go up to walkways on the roofs. He comes back, and for edification, the Sorensen Center was the building in front of the Lucy Center. And so he comes back and he says, "You want access to the roof?" And came back and said, "I was told students have access above us. If this is true, it would be nice to either have it controlled access or allow one of my guys to be there as well, if possible." He comes back, and his last correspondence was, "I got you covered." What else am I to do? When a command level person from an accredited police department says, "I've got this area." Jeez.
Please pick me. Okay. When you're like in school and you got to hold your hand up because you really want a teacher to see you. I have an answer for what you could have done. You could have followed up because it's your job and Charlie paid you millions of dollars not to pass the buck. No. Also, you asked the police chief an either or question. And I'm just kind of like trying to understand the basic construct of sentences. He said, "Got you covered." What does that mean? It was an either or question. Either provide us access or get somebody up there. Got you covered means what? No follow-up? That's it? Millions and millions of dollars on his security annually. And you just said, "Hey, a student told us that there's a rooftop and it would be good if we could have access to it, or if one of your guys could secure it. Got you covered." That's it. That's what Charlie was paying for?
Keep in mind that there was a credible threat against Charlie's life, and just 24 hours before he was shot, Charlie actually texted multiple people in his circle that he was scared for his life. Brian was being paid millions of dollars, and these are the kinds of things he was doing. You have to wonder if this was just a mistake or if he was doing this on purpose, because the next things he said was this.
I spent thousands of dollars on drones last year and got the guy's license. But if the area lies in the Provo, Utah airspace, I can't fly it. That's a 107B. We can't break the rules, right? And then you had secondary restrictions, probably due to heavy foot traffic for the school. But I can't go in and break the rules. There's laws for a reason. And so now the school could have flown drones, the PD, but they didn't have them, right? But Orem PD has a drone unit, active and professional, and that police department, I will tell you right now, is awesome. They get it. They were there, they helped both on the soft side and the hard side. And so I started asking questions like, "Do you guys have a drone unit?" Yeah. Good. Do you have an MOU or a mutual aid agreement with the school? And they're like, yeah. I said, did they call you and ask for assistance? No. I'm like, why wouldn't you call? And then, so, that's one. So just, I can't go in and break the law. I can't make my guys break the law. I can't go in and do something that would jeopardize their
Do you have any idea why they would say no?
Brian claims that it's illegal to fly a drone near the campus. This is a lie, and he knows this. Brian has been in charge of his security company for years. All private security companies have licenses to fly drones. Multiple other experts have already proven this.
Is Brian Harpole's not being factually accurate? Again, I don't want to quote him. I implore you guys to go back and check his interview out. But in his interview, he spoke a lot about not being able to legally fly a drone. Now, if any of you are familiar with the policies, procedures of filing one of the FAA 30-day notices or requests, or the Lance approvals, this particular area, I went and fact-checked him. I heard him say that he couldn't legally fly it based on the police's suggestion that they possibly will be covering the event, or that he's got them covered. And he used that as the legal pretext for not being able to fly, I assume. But the key is the key thing he said is he cannot legally fly, and that's just not factually accurate. So I went ahead and fact-checked him. I actually acquired a Lance approval for this specific site in a 3/4-mile radius around the campus. As far as the state law, as Utah is concerned, the state of Utah, they basically echo federal law. And so federal law dictates that, yes, you can get a permit under 107 rules, which, if this guy was operating a security contract company, he would have to have a 107 license. He'd have to be operating under the 107 license banner, which means that he would be able to, in this specific circumstance, get a Lance approval instantly. I acquired a Lance approval for the site within 20 seconds.
Brian went on to say that trusting the chief was actually his biggest mistake. And as it turns out, that's also not true, because there are dozens of other security threats that he ignored. The more you peel back the layers, the more it becomes clear none of what happened on that day was a mistake.
Looking back, Brian, what do you think that you guys could have or should have possibly done differently?
And people have asked that, and we've asked each other that.
Sure.
And so we look at our operations plan, our workup, and we're like, what could we have done? What could we incorporate it? And I'm like, man, if it were up to us, yeah, I'd have rolled in an APC. We had had, no budget, and there's a difference there. We have to work within realities. Right. And so, I hate to lower myself to this guy.
Yeah.
But I wish I wouldn't have trusted that chief. I wish, but this is a command level accredited police department, chief of police days before. And when we're talking about a specific area, and then when it comes across and there's like, this is what we're concerned with, and then when it comes back with, I got you covered, you tell me, and I'll take it. Is there another way for me to construe that that's taken care of?
Another major issue was how there was basically no security at all. It wasn't just the rooftop that was unguarded. There were no guards. None of the tickets were being checked. And an event that was supposed to be just 600 people quickly swelled over to 3,000. Charlie's security team could have stepped in at any moment, but they didn't. This wasn't a mistake. This was a choice.
PDs do not have drone programs, which is a big problem.
That's false.
Working on that, because it's something they should all have. It should be mandated by some sort of law. And so anyways, it's in quick defense of the security, they're only allowed to protect his immediate vicinity.
And that, of course, is false. So it was made very clear that there were drones that could have been used, and there could have been people on the roof. They said there were supposed to be people on the roof, but where they failed is they did not verify with the police department that was actually taken care of. And then the next thing I want to talk about, this is extremely important, is that initially there are supposed to be about 600 people coming to this event. Now, there's several layers of issues here. First of all, they didn't check tickets. It was a wide open event, meaning anyone could come and they could just walk right in. So there's no security there. There's no accountability for anyone who's coming in if they actually bought tickets or signed up for this event. And then for a security, they said that it went from 600 people to over 3,000 that showed up. Now, at these events, a lot of times it's Kirk's enemies, right? It's the left. It's the people that are anti Charlie Kirk. They call him a fascist. He gets death threats. So they left it wide open, and his security team allowed this to happen. They put him in a situation where they could have said, we're not going to cover you. We're not going to do this event. It's not safe. We can't verify if the roof is going to be covered or not. And even when it was at 600 people that were supposed to be there and 3,000 showed up, they could see the crowd growing. In fact, they mentioned it in some of the interviews and things that I've seen, that they could tell that there was getting to be a lot of people. At that point, they could make the decision to pull Charlie for his safety.
Charlie knew this was coming. He knew he would be betrayed.
One more thing rather explosively. 3 people told me off record. 2 people who have this in a written communication from Charlie. One who is a Turning Point USA donor, and I would say very much one of the white knights in this. The very day before Charlie Kirk died, he expressed that he thought he was going to be killed. He told these people, I think they're going to kill me, okay? He did not express that to me, so I am telling you this based off the testimony of 3 people. And I am saying this because I hope that these people, who I think are good, will be inspired to come forward with that. Again, those conversations I had were off record. I honor that. If I say it's off record, it stays off record. But I'm hoping that watching what I am doing and feeling the energy that is rising across the world for people who want to know what the heck happened on 9/10, that, they will be brave and they will say, yeah, Charlie did the day before he died think that he was going to be, and maybe tell us, who is they? Well, for once and for all, who is they? Who is the they that he thought were going to kill?
The more you look at the lies told by Turning Point USA, the more their story starts to fall apart. And we haven't even looked at how the footage showing Tyler confessing has already disappeared. The police station that Tyler walked into has allegedly deleted the footage. It's just shocking at this point. You're telling me a man was assassinated and you deleted the footage of his alleged shocker coming in to confess. At this point, everyone knows that this is a cover-up. In a recent episode of his show, Joe Rogan dismantled the official narrative step by step. Tyler Robinson being the shooter and jumping off a 14-foot roof without leaving any evidence, and then suddenly agreeing to turn himself in, doesn't make sense.
According to the narrative. Now, let's be real clear. I don't necessarily think they know what's going on yet. There's a lot of weird going on with this.
I know.
First of all, there was that one guy who was the decoy. All right, so you got this guy who's an older guy who starts yelling out. Didn't he take his pants down? He took his pants down. This guy was at 9/11. He was at the Boston bombing.
All the hits.
He called in a fake bomb at another place. And then he did this at this thing. Right after, so somehow or another, this guy has the state of mind that the moment someone gets, he yells out and says, I did it, and takes his pants down or something like that. I don't know exactly what he did. Then, ready for this? He gets arrested for child porn right away.
Right after this happened?
Oh, right away. He's in jail for child porn. Why is that? Well, now you can't interview him.
Right, right.
Right, and because when the internet people start going, how are you at all these different things? Like, what are the odds? Like, if someone ran it through one of the ChatGPT perplexity things, like, what are the odds that this guy would be at all those different events and be involved? Like, 0.
This is the guy?
Yeah.
I just like that the pants down part is just insane to me. It's like, why is your out, dude?
I did it. Listen, I'm not saying this guy isn't insane. He's clearly insane.
Yeah.
Or not. Or he's professionally insane.
Right.
That's where it gets squirrely.
I almost texted you when the Charlie Kirk thing happened because my antennas went up about, they showed the photo of that kid, or the guy that they have, the 22-year-old, whatever. And I was almost going to be like, dude, you think he's got the capability to do that?
And then you look at the sniper that Tyler was using. You've got a supposedly modern-looking rifle that authorities claim came from World War I, conveniently with no serial number. And then there's the part where they said he took the rifle apart and put it back together on a rooftop under pressure.
Now, here's where it gets weird. The first images of this rifle with a scope, I swear to God, it looks like he has a composite stock on it. Like, it looks like a modern 30-06 rifle. So a 30-06, so that's the rifle. 30-06 is like, that looks like a very modern-looking stock. I mean, it might not be. It might be just a bad resolution. It might be wood. It's hard to tell. But if you showed me that and you said, hey, this is my cousin's rifle, is this any good? I'd be like, looks like a standard bolt-action rifle with like a sophisticated modern scope on it. Sure. Now, apparently, the narrative is that this is his grandfather's rifle from World War I and doesn't have a serial code. Okay.
Interesting.
Okay. Why? Wait. Why are you using such an old gun? Like, that's kind of crazy. Like, is it possible that an old gun can be that accurate?
This isn't even the worst part. The FBI wants us to believe that someone with no shooting experience made a perfect shot using a gun from World War I and then escaped, leaving behind 0 clues. This wasn't the work of an amateur.
That's the other thing. They said that he took it apart and then put it back together again. Shut the f up. Do you know how much time it would take to do that if you were highly skilled?
To disassemble a gun.
To disassemble a rifle so that you can get it in a backpack. And by the way, not going to fit.
Not going to fit in a backpack.
And then somehow or another reconnects it once he gets off the roof? What? What's that about?
Is that what they pitched, huh?
Yeah. And then he's supposed to get it in that stupid fucking backpack. It's literally, it makes no sense.
And the elevator music was a nice touch, by the way.
Yeah. So this is just a narrative, right? Yeah. We watch a guy jump off the roof, and then we supposedly find this rifle. So if you can have a guy that's in the audience that's yelling, I shot him, now shoot me, I shot him, now shoot me, and then that guy gets arrested for child charges, like he's like, what is going on here? So and then weird. You find this rifle, and then you say, oh, he assembled it and he reassembled it. Like, okay. If I wish I was a cop, I'd sit in a room like, this story is horseshit. Like, none of these things make any sense to me. Like, you're telling me that this kid who's not military trained, this guy, first of all, how did he get to the roof? How come nobody was looking? How come nobody was like, there's a direct line of sight between where he's sitting and those roofs? You guys didn't check? You don't have a drone? Like, that's insane.
Erica's behavior has been suspicious ever since Charlie died. One person wrote a comment on TikTok saying, I don't understand how Erica Kirk has time for interviews, but says absolutely nothing regarding the investigation. Like, if my husband was murder, I would do whatever I can to get to the bottom of this. Not do interviews about how much I appreciate Trump and Vance, SMH, it's all off. I would also thank Candace for putting her time to help solve this for me and my kids.
The widow of conservative activist Charlie Kirk is taking over the organization her husband helped to establish. Erica Kirk was officially named as CEO of Turning Point USA by the group's board. In a post on social media today, the board said the organization will carry on and not surrender to evil. Charlie Kirk was fatally shot during an open-air event on the campus of Utah Valley University on September 10th. 22-year-old Tyler Robinson is charged in his killing. Charlie Kirk co-founded Turning Point USA in 2012. The group is credited with energizing the youth vote in Donald Trump's 2024 presidential election victory.
The violence, unfortunately, doesn't end here. Both Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson have received threats simply for questioning the official story. The moment they started digging into the inconsistencies, the pressure came down hard. Candace said on stream that she was explicitly told there was an active threat against her if she kept talking.
Candace Owens has been told there is a threat on her life, that she is on a list, her and Tucker Carlson.
Another point that I'd like to follow up with, Andrew Colvett, let's stick with you, is that in the hospital on that day, you told me, you were in the hospital, that you were told that there was a credible threat against me and Tucker Carlson. Specifically, you told me that me and Tucker Carlson were on a list and that you were just telling me as a friend that me and Tucker should lay low. And after you told me that, I ended our phone call and I immediately called Tucker Carlson. And I said, hey, terrified, like obviously crying all day and telling him that he and I have to lay low because there's a credible threat. And it is now really living inside me that you did not tell me who that threat was from. I assumed the feds told you, but I asked you the question, why wouldn't the feds call me directly if there was a threat against my life? No such call has come in. How is that possible? How could someone have told you that there was a credible threat and that me and Tucker Carlson should lay low, and yet me and Tucker have since not been notified by any federal agency about those credible threats?
Okay, that is really weird. For those who don't know, this person that told Candace Owens there was an active and real threat against her and Tucker Carlson's life was this individual here, Andrew Covid. Andrew Covid is Charlie Kirk's executive producer. So in the hospital when Charlie was Andrew Covid told Candace Owens that there's an active threat against her and Tucker Carlson's life. Candace is looking back in hindsight and saying, wait a minute, who even told you that there was a threat on my life? And if there was a very serious threat on my life, then why hasn't somebody from the FBI contacted me? So she's thinking, okay, my friend Charlie just died and now there's an active threat against me. Now later, Candace ended up making the claim that Charlie began to abandon the pro-Israel movement near the end of his life. Andrew Covid denied these claims. Then later, Candace showed receipts and released the text messages, which Andrew was a part of, where Charlie did admit and say that he was going to abandon the pro-Israel movement. Charlie also said he was thinking about bringing Candace back, and the people in that group message begged him not to do so. Candace, who has been somebody who has been anti-Israel, and she's spoken out against Israel. Then near the end of his life, when Charlie began to share those same sentiments, people who were close to him and people who worked very close to him, like Andrew Covid, tried to cover that up and say it wasn't true. Now she's looking back and she's saying, wait a minute, Andrew was the same person that told me there was a threat on my life. Now, who exactly would be threatening Candace, and why? And why would Andrew be privy to this information? Very weird.
Even the official narrative has holes. FBI Director Kash Patel confirmed earlier that they were investigating the presence of a second shooter, and now that detail is blowing the entire case wide open. Witnesses on the ground reported hearing shots from 2 different directions, and surveillance timestamps don't align with the version of events Brian Harpole is pushing. At this point, every new revelation makes it harder to believe that Charlie Kirk's inner circle didn't know more than they're admitting.
This guy is equally sane, and he's saying, hey, look, that appears to me to be an exit wound. And when I go and look at this, and by the way, Kash Patel said on Sunday that the FBI is looking at leads, including the location of the shot and the angle of the bullet, potentially a second shooter. And that's what Kash Patel said on the Sunday news show. So this does not appear, Pat, that it's one
Does
crazy
this say that
person
Kash Patel said there's a second shooter?
Yes, sir.
Rob, can you zoom in a little bit, please? I'm 46. Thank you. Director of FBI committed to ensuring the investigation into Charlie Kirk's assassination person. The full weight of Americans law enforcement is active following the extended. We are meticulously investigating theories and questioning includes the location where the shot was taken, the possibility of accomplices, text messages, confessions, related conversations, Discord chats, and the angle of the shot and bullet impact, how the weapon was transported, hand gesture observed as potential signals near Charlie. So they're doing all of that. Okay, that's
and
great.
They're saying where the shot was taken.
Got it. Some details are known today, while others are still being pursued to ensure every possibility is considered. Our primary focus of complete investigation formation will ensure regarding specific details such as questions about the plane, regarding the turning off transponder to assassination side, we can share updates. Okay.
At this point, one thing is clear. Too many questions remain unanswered. The timelines don't match, the testimonies keep shifting, and the people closest to the situation are suddenly nowhere to be found.